What's up, man? It's been a while.
It's been a little bit. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm back though. I'm back. Don't
yeah,
don't do that.
yeah. Nah,
Don't
we
do that.
back. We back. We back. We back. New Block Nerds, welcome back to another episode. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday Thrones. We are back in Westeros. I think we're on Eddard 4 now. We were with John last time. This Eddard chapter, we're coming off of the heels of what happened at the inn at the crossroads. So that's still fresh on our mind. Joffrey being a little bitch that he is. But Ned is finally in King's Landing now. And Duran, I kind of want to get like your reaction to reading this chapter for the first time because it is very similar to how it happened in the show. Like he arrives in King's Landing and pretty much immediately they're like, "Oh, we got to have a council meeting," and Ned's like, fuck, dude, I'm tired, I'm hungry, like I smell like shit, I want a bath, like I just y'all are already bothering me with this shit.
Yo, like he was so like just over it, also dealing with the girls, dealing with the wolf. He's like, Joffrey, I want to just go and do nothing. And the television show, to answer your question, like I was picturing the show. Like this is probably the most clear episode I've seen, as far as like pulling it from the pages to making it to the screen. I can just see him frustrated, mount off the horse, like, yo, listen, I want to go shower. Leave me alone. No, you have to go and meet the council. Go in the council. Just the overall like stench of the room, how the vibe was, and how like it just this is like a territory not made for him. He does
Yeah.
not belong there. And he felt it. Like there's scenes you have when you go to different towns and different cities when that culture you bring from wherever you are, you can sniff it out right away.
Oh yeah.
And you can just tell like even with the whole passion of like we are the greatest, we are the king. How do we owe money? How do we owe money to people? How are we borrowing money from other kingdoms? Like, what do you mean? Like, we are the crown. Like, there was a bunch of money when we got the war done. Like, I know I was there.
Yeah.
It just that interaction. It was like, no, he blew the money, sir.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, like what you said about like his culture. It's definitely like a huge culture shock for Ned to come from the north down here in King's Landing in the south where everything is just different. Like he's number one. I mean, again, like we said, he's tired, he's hungry, he's had a stressful journey already down here. So he's already not in the mood. And then like the first council meeting, you got, you know, Littlefinger giving him shit with every other breath that he takes, which this is a classic Littlefinger chapter. Like it's there's so much classic Littlefinger like japes and little like snide remarks here and there. It's funny because the way that like Littlefinger kind of like introduces himself to Ned, he's kind of like, has your wife? Surely your wife has spoke to you about me, and Ned kind
Right?
of feels like offended by it, like who the fuck are you? Like who are you to be even mentioning my like what? Like don't even mention my wife's name. And then Ned kind of hits him back with like, yeah, I know you know my brother as well, don't you? After he
Yeah, let
almost
that be
after
known.
he almost fucking killed you, right? And but like to Littlefinger's credit, Littlefinger like he gives it back to him quickly. Like he's just like, I because he was like, oh yeah, Brandon did speak about you and with some heat. And Littlefinger's like, well, they say you Starks are all made of ice, so you guys don't do too well in the heat. And
He
I'm
was
like,
going back bar for bar,
yeah,
and like it was really disrespectful for Littlefinger to say, "Hey, Joey talked about me." Like,
like
yo,
yo,
bro,
watch your mouth, bro.
like he with the confidence and like it makes it even more like irritating of his character, knowing in the back end that he already knew the wife was there. So and that he Ned did not know about that. So it's like
Hmm.
he being like, yeah, she didn't tell you about me, bro.
Yeah,
I know a little more about her.
he's toying with him the whole time, and like
Absolutely.
to your point about like Ned feeling like kind of like a fish out of water here. Like when the council meeting starts, number one, Ned's like, oh, maybe we should wait for Robert to get here, and Renly's like, yeah, okay. my brother doesn't
Also,
my brother doesn't come to this shit.
speaking of Renly, like they actually went his like that his garments cost more than some of the ladies there. Just speaking of that, and then his brother being king and being told slob and is the opposite, just
Yeah.
tells you like the different like night and day contrast and then being on the council. It was like there's so much personality on this council, it's
Oh yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's really interesting, like because we forget just because we've seen the show. In the books, Renly is like the spitting image of young Robert. Like what we think of, what we imagine Robert to have looked like when he was fighting on the Trident. That's what Ned says that Renly looks like. And
Yeah,
he
he
even
does.
tells him, he's just like, man, sometimes I look at you and I'm like, man, you're Robert. And Renly like laughs it off. He's just like, I'm a poor copy. Which, to be fair, he is. But
Yeah, it's a little bit.
but how did you feel? Just like to your point that you mentioned earlier about the crown being in so much debt. I think that is one thing that I feel like a lot of fantasy stories don't really touch on is like the practicality of running a kingdom. And I
Mhm.
love that they threw this tidbit in here because that is something that is a problem later on in the story is that the crown has to finance everything that they do, right? And Ned's like, again, complete culture shock. He's not used to this kind of shit. Like, I imagine he's not counting too many coppers up there in Winterfell, but coming down here, realizing that the crown is I think it was, what do you say, 6 million gold pieces in debt or whatever it is, and he's just like,
Yeah.
what, we're broke. What the fuck? What have we been doing, guys?
And that is the broke up part about it. They were trying to throw a party.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, your priorities are twisted. Like this, it's not, we're trying to throw a party and we owe what? And we're trying to get this from who? You're trying to like more empower the Lancers even more. Like, we're not doing this. We're not gonna have a party. I will talk to him, we're gonna break it down. And the council's like, yeah, good luck with that. We've had these conversations.
Yeah, we've been
It's
doing
not
we've been
gonna
doing this for
happen.
15 years, guy. We've been doing this
Yeah,
for
you just
15
got
years.
adored. You don't really know this guy. He is not who you think he was. Like, that was a child version, young, hungry warrior. Now he just parties and just want to sit on a crown, do nothing.
Yep, and do nothing. Yep. So I feel bad for Ned because he's already not in a great mood when he shows up, and then this just he's just like I feel like the meeting lasted like 3 minutes because they bring this up and they're just like, look, whether or not you think you can talk Robert off this ledge, we'd better still make our plans as if this is happening because he's gonna it's happening. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. And Ned's like, you know what? I fucking can't today. I just can't. I just can't. And then he just gets
Yeah.
up and it's just like, meeting dismissed. We'll we'll get to this when we get to this. I can't even think about this right now.
So you
Um
just mentioned that he's already pissed off when he first get there from a long ride, dealing with his family, dealing with the girls. Then he has to go to this council meeting. He's going to get more irritated. And then once he's concluded with the council information, the Littlefinger jabbing at him. Once he leaves, oh yeah, we have to go somewhere else. Bro, this man just wanted to sit down. He just wanted to sit down. It
and
has nothing to do with anything else.
and that's the funny thing about Littlefinger in this chapter. He is toying with Ned the entire he's having so much fun just taking these jabs, these verbal jabs at Ned the entire time. Like, as soon as, like you said, Ned walks outside, he's just like, "You're going the wrong way, Star." And he's just like, "Come on, follow me this way." And he's like, "These, this isn't the way to my bedchamber." She was like, "Oh, really? Huh? Like I didn't fucking know that."
Yo, this dude, like, you want to punch him in his face already, but like it's building up, building up. So as they're following the path, and then Ned's being Ned, he's getting even more like tense. Like, yo, I don't like this dude. I really don't like him at all. And
Yeah.
he's now saying more slick things. It's like, yo, go this way. We're gonna come down this way. Yo, I'm gonna punch you in your face. Yo, where are we going? Like, stop with the games. I ain't got time for this. Where are we going? And Littlefinger, being who he is, a clever. He's just comedian. Like, his timing's perfect, bro.
Yeah, no, his timing is perfect, and like, he's a shitbag, but I found myself chuckling several times through this chapter with some of the
Yes.
things Littlefinger was throwing at Ned because I'm just like, yo, Ned, he is, oh my god, he's dogging you right now, bro. Like, do something about this.
Yes. And then, like, so we get to the point eventually where Master comes down and he realized, like, he's about to put hands on Littlefinger. Like, yo, I'm not dealing with this no more. Either you're going to tell me where we're going or I'm going to put you down. So then going back there to find out that it's a brothel. It's like, hey, why are we here? And his wife's up there. How did you feel about the overall, like, joy of Littlefinger's voice and the confusion of Ned in front of the wife? Like, how did they think that whole scene, like, played in your heart knowing that he wants to be with her. He has her, but I have the upper hand.
Well, here's the thing. I'm so glad you asked that question because the entire time, I feel like Littlefinger is just sitting there, like in the background, kind of like because here's the thing. We know that Littlefinger is lying about this information that he has. We
Yes.
know Tyrion as a character. We know that Tyrion would not try to kill Bran.
Yep.
I think of all the theories out there, I don't think Tyrion being responsible for Bran's attempted murder is a very popular one. I don't think anyone really believes that Tyrion was behind that, right? So Littlefinger is he's just playing them. Like he's watching them have this embrace. Number one, he's like, ugh, because he still wants Catelyn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's just so opportunistic. He sees already that they want the Lannisters to be guilty of this crime, so he's just egging them on. He's just egging them on.
So, how do you feel about the vibe of the knowing that Littlefinger and how clever he was, and how him having a brothel? Like when you first read this, not thinking about the actual. Like, did you think that would be his like, I own this? Like, did you think he would say that? And I didn't think that as a character.
Well, I can't say. I mean, hindsight's 2020, right? So I can't say that like I definitely like saw that coming. But what I would say is, you know, and he mentions it kind of like, you know, they talk about Lord Varys having all these eyes and spies and knowing everyone's secrets and stuff like that. I think it does make a whole lot of sense for someone like Littlefinger who finds himself or thinks of himself in the same league as Varys as far as being a intelligence gatherer. Let's just call him that.
Yeah.
Of owning a brothel, because think about all the people who come in and out of brothels, and a lot of people get really loose-lipped when you laying down in bed together, right?
Facts.
So that's a lot of information, a lot of things that you can leverage, a lot of info you can leverage by owning a brothel in a place like King's Landing of all places, right? Because you're going to get any and everyone in there, especially if you own a decent brothel, which I imagine Littlefinger as the master of coin has enough money to have to own a well-known one, right? So I mean it makes a lot of sense, but also too, like it always made me uneasy knowing that he owned this kind of stuff on the side, because if everything I just said is true and this guy's already showing himself to be a little arrogant, pretentious shitbag, of course he's gonna use that info for nefarious reasons. So I think it's made very clear in the writing that George is telling us, don't trust this fucking guy. And even Ned has it in his own inner monologue of like, Catelyn likes this guy, but I don't fucking trust him at all. And he shouldn't. And he even says it in the show. I think like the episode that this is based off of, you know, where Littlefinger tells Ned, distrusting me was the smartest thing you've done since you've came to King's Landing.
Yes.
Because I'm an absolute scumbag. I'm just letting you know that right now. I'm an absolute scumbag. Nothing is sacred to me, except maybe your wife.
Yo, even the line, like, okay, things getting the dagger was exposed. It's talking about what's going to happen, how there was assassination attempt against Bran, but tell me all this intensity's going up there, and then for Littlefinger just mentioned the comment about his brother and about how wise it was for him. Basically, yo, I need y'all to chill. Throw the dagger inside the ocean. Pretend this never actually happened, because if y'all go after the queen, it's not going to be what y'all think it's going to be.
Right.
That's just a wise man saying that. And then Ned's being protective, like, yo, my family, I'm going to do something. And then the basically dropping the bar, well, your brother's dead for doing the same thing. I'm still alive.
Right. Right. And
it's so true. It's so freaking
it's so true. It's fucked up, but it's true. Like I think in a way, even though he's mocking Ned this whole chapter, he's also trying to teach Ned, like, yo, this isn't Winterfell. This is the North. You can't just put your head down and plow your way through solutions here. This isn't how it goes. If you really want to win at this, pretend like you know nothing.
And they can't do that.
And he can't do that. And he can't do that. And again, you know, Ned throws a jab at him, and he's just like, if you think that I'm just going to forget this, and you're a bigger fool than I thought you were. He was just like, a fool I might be, but your brother's been rotting in a grave for some 15 years now. So, and I'm still here. So
Bro,
who's the dummy?
he said this after we've already like specified he's been getting more irritated and irritated the entire time. Already put hands on you, stopped. And you gonna do this in front of his lady too? Yo, you got some sack on you, bro. Like you
Yeah,
got
he's
that.
got Littlefinger's
Yeah,
got
he
a
got
set on him.
it.
He's got a set on him. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's such a great chapter because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Again, hindsight's 2020, but my first time reading this, I'm just like, you see how naive Ned is. You see how bullheaded he is, and you see the
Yes,
writing is it's so clear as day that Littlefinger's going to play him. He's basically telling him outright, "Hey, when I get a chance, I'm going to fuck you over. I'm just letting you know that." But he also knows that Ned doesn't think that way. He also so
absolutely.
he can say it straight to his face, and it'll still just go right over Ned's head.
It's just like I enjoy this chapter so much because it basically was bringing up two different worlds: the honor and the way of the North,
Mm-hmm.
and then you come down to the kingdom and the tricks they do. That what's going to win? We're playing blackjacks. You can play again. I'm going cards, or I can cheat and I know what cards next. That is the way they play on there. It's not fair
It's the Game
at
of
all,
Thrones, baby.
and
It's the
he
Game
is
of Thrones.
definitely like he's not going to survive. Like it's
No.
right there when you first do it. You're like, yo, Ned, stop. Please stop what you're doing. You're too honorable. It doesn't work down here. Take your rat, go back up top. Take all your stuff, go back north. But
Yeah,
we already know it's
and it's sad, right? Because like how the chapter ends, Ned is basically like, all right, so next steps are we try to find the truth, and once we find the truth, we bring it to Robert and pray that he's still the man I think he is. And it's
and then
just
also
like
like
it's just it's so discomforting, like
mm-hmm.
knowing what happens because like even if you didn't know what happens, all the evidence is there in this chapter that like that's not the way it's gonna go, bro. It's not that simple.
And there's so many warnings, bro. Even from like Littlefinger to Varys to like even his wife. Like, so then what? What are you gonna do? Like, we're talking about war, trying to prepare for war. Like, just she didn't even. She went another route to get there before you even got there. That just tells you that even in your household, you are not the most clever one.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
man, it's interesting. I can't wait. I think next one is what? What's next chapter?
I'll tell you in a second.
I think it's the Living Legend.
It's
Well,
Tyrion. It's
yeah.
Tyrion. Yeah, we're back with
I think we're
Tyrion
back at
next
the
week.
wall
Yeah.
next. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're back at
Yeah.
the wall.
Yeah. So I always look forward to Tyrion chapters. But yeah, this was a great chapter. I always love a good Ned chapter, especially when Littlefinger's around because it's hilarious to see them go back and forth.
I'm looking forward to a chapter with Littlefinger into it just because like he was petty.
He's just
He was
so
very
petty.
petty.
So petty. He's
So
so petty.
golden.
He's
It
so
was so
petty.
good.
He's so petty.
So good.
Speaking of which, before we get out of here, there was one, I don't think it's in the books, but the scene in the show where Littlefinger's talking about his run-in with Brandon to one of the people who work at his brothel. Um, and he said, when he had that duel with Brandon, he realized that he was never going to win at that game. And so he said, no, I'm not going to fight them. I'm going to fuck them. And there's something as big of a scumbag as he is. There's something respectable about that. He's just like, look, I'm not going to beat them at this game. I know how I can beat them, and
Bro,
I have to fuck them over.
we call it 40 chess. We call it
Yeah,
40
40
chess, right?
chess. That's
That
Littlefinger.
this is Littlefinger. That's 40 chess. Like it's not even like a game with him. Like he just I know what we're doing. You're gonna play my way, my pace. I'm gonna control the tempo. He's Mayweather and everybody, and it's
Yes.
hilarious.
Yep, just a straight up counterpuncher. That's
Yeah, like,
one of the greatest analogies I've heard about Littlefinger. He's the greatest
that's what it is.
counterpuncher in Westeros.
I'm not gonna knock you out. It's not gonna work. But I'm gonna play. Okay, you done? All right, cool. All right, you done yet? All right, back.
Yeah,
My money. I'm out of here. Win by decision. That's all that matters.
yeah. So, shout out to a Floyd Littlefinger here in Westeros. But guys, it's been a pleasure hanging out with y'all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you guys think about this chapter. It's a great chapter. One of the better chapters early in the book, for sure. And looking forward to Tyrion next week, man. So Deron, it's a pleasure as always, bro. And We'll catch y'all next
Yes,
week.
sir. Always. Peace.